tonight we have the future of women's arm wrestling. And we put together a really, really good bunch, a good crop of girls that is going to take over women's arm wrestling in the next couple of years, I believe, with the exception of one that has already taken over arm wrestling. So we have, all right, Sabrina, I don't want to butcher your name. You say it first.
I'm Sabrina Maruszewski from Argentina.
And now living in Pennsylvania.
Living in Pennsylvania, yeah.
And Jesse, you're Jesse Ondrovic, right?
Yeah.
From North Carolina. And, of course, Madison Walker from Jersey. And I just want to address the elephant in the room first before we go on. Jesse, you still have an AOL email account? Holy shit.
I
mean, what is it, 1997?
Yeah, I'm 1997, so I'm right in the middle of that. Like AOL was still there, MySpace was still there, but
would they give you an email address when you were 3? How the hell did that happen?
I actually had to make it when I was 13 years old at a sleepover because my friend wanted me to create a Facebook account so she could tag me in a picture.
Okay.
That's the story.
Oh, all right. And you still have it. Hey, listen, whatever works. I don't care. Okay, so we're going to take this. We're going to title this one Young Guns, the Future of Female Arm Wrestling. So, ladies, Sabrina and Jesse, I'm sure you already know we are in the presence of greatness. So why don't we start with you, Madison, and tell us what an incredible weekend you had.
Well, I was in Orlando, Florida, and we were at the IFA World Championships, and I won the left-hand juniors and the right-hand juniors, and I placed 3rd in the seniors open.
Yeah.
Right-hand.
So you basically beat everybody with the exception of the open, but in the juniors you beat everybody and you brought home the gold medal in arm wrestling.
Yes.
That's a big statement. That's saying something. And you are pretty much the dominant female of the future. I would say it's safe to say, especially on the East Coast, it's safe to say. Don't you agree?
We're getting there.
I'd say, yeah. You're looking at the future, Michelle Dugan, the future Nancy Locke, the future, you want me to go on? Angie Rose, But then we also have 2 other greats. So, Sabrina, why don't you tell us about your arm wrestling career as of yet?
I've been bullying for like 7 years, something like that. It's not kind of popular in my country, so I'm used to pull guys all the time. So I don't care if I have to go to practice and there's no girls. I'm used to that. So yeah. I've been pulling for a really long time. Now I'm not active. I'm not like training. I always go to the tournaments just to support the female class, but I'm focused on work and all that stuff. So I'm trying to get back to training and see what can we do here.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm working, let's say, construction.
Damn. Really?
My boss flip houses, so it's a property management. So it's like kind of weird for a girl, but
I was gonna say, what are you, a mason and an arm wrestler? Wow.
So I'm always tired after work. I don't train.
Is it a physical job or it's like it's more of an administrative job?
Sometimes it's like totally hard work.
Oh, she's tearing down the walls.
Yeah,
2x8.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Plywood sheets.
All right.
It's kind of hard, but I can manage.
Well, that's where we get. That's where we get your strength from. That's for sure. That's where you get your strength from. Okay, Jesse. Now tell us a little bit about you and your arm wrestling.
So I used to compete in like kids competitions. My dad arm wrestled back in like the 80s, 90s. He ran 2 different tournaments in Pennsylvania for most of my childhood. So I got to see it when I was very young. I would always compete wherever he was hosting it, so I got to know a lot of like the older guys, big name guys who were younger at the time, but were making their way up. So I, kind of stopped when I got to high school, did high school sports. In college, then I started picking it up again because I was just not in sports. I had a little bit more free time, and it was, there was a practice right in my backyard. We literally opened up our garage and transformed it into an arm wrestling, like, gym kind of thing. So it was pretty available to me just because I had been around it. And my dad, reopened his kind of arm wrestling career. So I got to be a part of that. And I'm just kind of been doing it ever since. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so I've been arm wrestling up there for most of my life. I just recently moved down to North Carolina for school purposes, and I got to arm wrestle some of the people down here. So I just started my Southeast arm wrestling career.
Oh, okay. So that's actually a perfect segue. Before we finish, though, I just want to tell whoever's listening how young the girls are. Madison is 20, Jesse is 24, and Sabrina is 27. I'm not telling you how old I am. So, no, but that's actually a perfect segue. So, Jesse, that's how you actually got involved with your dad. So you were kind of born into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you doing it on the regular now? Or are you training for it now?
Yeah. So my boyfriend is also into arm wrestling. That's kind of how we met. We were working at the same place, and in the back we started arm wrestling people just out of fun, because that's what like you just do, like, in school and stuff. So we started it there, and then we were like, do you actually know about this? And then we started talking, and would go to arm wrestling tournaments and stuff. So about an hour away from me, we go to a practice once a week with some other people from like Wilmington, Myrtle Beach area, and like South Carolina and stuff. So there's a few decent group of guys down there that we go and see. There are no women there either, so it's always pretty much just arm wrestling men.
Well, that's okay. It's kind of like when fighters fight with 16-ounce gloves on, right? And then they have to actually use 9-ounce gloves. So when you're arm wrestling guys, and then you start arm wrestling girls, you're like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
Actually, not so easy, but So Madison, tell us how you got involved. I know you kind of have a similar story where your dad was a champion.
Yeah, it's similar but very different at the same time. So my dad, same thing with Jesse's dad, arm wrestled in the 80s or 90s. And then when me and my sister were born in 2001, my dad quit. So he was just done. He had to focus on work. Me and my sister, we grew up, played softball, and other sports. So he wanted to be around. He didn't have time for training. And he told me about arm wrestling, but he completely downplayed it. Like, coming back into the sport with him, I just started a year ago, but he was coming out of retirement maybe almost 3 years. I'm not really sure.
Hold on, pause. You only started a year ago.
Like almost a year, yeah.
And you're already a world champion.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. All right, continue.
So he downplayed it a lot. So his first tournament, maybe Philly, I think the FOP Lodge, and I went with him, and I didn't start with him at all. He just wanted to get back into it, and it was like Steve Walker is back, like da da da. It was just like the community is just crazy. Like, he hasn't been in it for 19, 20 years, and they all still know who he is and everything. It was amazing. So how I started again was last year or 2 years ago. I played college softball in New York, and our season was canceled because of COVID. So it was like 2020, 2019, like that area. So we got sent back from Florida, and we got canceled. And I was like, well, I'm bored. Like, what do I do all summer? Like, can't play travel anymore. I'm too old. And so my dad was like, why don't you start arm wrestling? So Jim Bryan, he just passed away in January. He hosted practice for Team New Jersey, and just started practicing, and my first tournament was the World Qualifiers in Atlantic City, and I got second, and I was like, I love this. So I just started, but I'm on and off training because I'm at school playing softball, and everyone knows that arm wrestles, throwing overhand with the ball is not good when you arm wrestle. So I
didn't realize that. Oh, is that true? I didn't know
like I just got back on Monday, and I had to drive back to school on Tuesday morning or Monday night because we had practice, and I had to throw a ball, and it was terrible. Let's just say that.
What position do you play in softball?
I played third base, but now I'm at first base. So
that's pretty good. So if you play third base, that means you got pretty good reflexes, right? Because the ball's coming your way a lot.
Oh, it's a hot corner. I played third base growing up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, Sabrina. So tell us how you got involved in arm wrestling.
Like same situation. My dad was an arm wrestler. Mm-hmm. I was actually on my prep for bodybuilding in 2013, I guess.
Really?
So we were training together. He was like focused on another thing. I was on my thing, and then I pushed him to like go to a real arm wrestling practice, and he started. I was all the time with him, like just supporting him, and I started like learning from what I was watching, but I was not training. Like I just learned from watching, and it was way easier for me when I started after my contest. So I decided to quit bodybuilding and start training with my dad, and it was way easier with the techniques and all that stuff because I already knew how to pull. Okay. I was not training, but I was into the practices and watching all the time, so it was kind of easy. And then I started like competing, but we were just like 5 girls in the country competing, and it was hard because like they were not all the time in every tournament, and I was going everywhere, like every tournament I was there and pulling in the guy class. Like I was trying to do something, like not just staying there, like pulling as much as I can. And then after a couple of years, we came here, and now I have like a good amount of girls to practice with, to compete. So it's like motivating, but now I'm focused on work. So like I need to settle down and start training again and enjoy. We have a lot of quality. Yeah.
Do you know how happy it makes me because I'm a dude and I got brothers who are good dads, that there are such great dads, and you could tell by the outcome obviously of their kids. All three of you are headed in the right direction, where as far as work and education and obviously arm wrestling and so on and so forth, and you owe it all to your dads, and of course your moms too, but your dads introduced you to the life of arm wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say a funny joke, and then I'm going to have to explain to Jesse, because I don't think she's the only one that doesn't know. But if you have an absentee father, you wind up on my Patreon channel. But if you have a good father, you wind up on the YouTube channel. No, Madison gets it. Right? You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain.
Well, all right. So I just know like different people that you interview.
Right. The shitty fathers, their product ends up on Patreon. The good fathers, their product ends up on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. So Jesse, who did you look up to as far as arm wrestling growing up? I mean, I know you had your dad, but besides your dad, who else were you like, oh my God, I want to pull like that person or this person or so on and so forth? Or who'd you follow on social media or whatever?
Just by like knowing the people that I grew up around, it was like, Badger, Drews, my dad. I don't believe they're still around, but the Opitz brothers. they were like 300 plus pound dudes who would just destroy on the table. And not a lot of women, but I know Sue Fisher since I was like a baby. She's a national and world champion out of Philly. So she was pretty much like who I considered top female, because that was the only kind of exposure I had to it. And then once like social media started really coming around, obviously Michelle Dugan, Sarah Bachman, Gabriella,
just Gabby V.
Yeah.
Just Gabby V.
Sabrina knows. Like, just there have been so many more women that have like come up. So it's just anytime I see like a new one, I'm like, oh my God, I need to like go do a whole bunch of research and find out who they are, and just learn as much as I can from everyone that I come to meet.
All right, Sabrina, how about you? Who did you look up to? Who do you admire?
Actually, my biggest inspiration was Shambhir Singh.
Okay.
So I started like watching him a lot. Tal Hachim, Romba, they were like my idols when I started. Then of course Sarah Bachman. I watch a lot of WEF World Championships, so I pretty much know all of the female in the WEF. So like my idol is Shambhir Singh.
It's still Shambhir Singh. Well, rightfully so. I get it.
He's the one and only.
Even though he's gonna lose to Paul Lynn. I'm hoping anyway. All right, so go ahead, Maddie. What about you? Who are the girls that you look up to? Or guys, doesn't matter.
First male was definitely Jim Bryan. Always grew up watching him because I know him since I was little. Women, when I first started, Sue Fisher, definitely. We practice together all the time now when I'm back home. Love her to death. She was the first woman I ever pulled. And currently, probably Michelle Dugan. She's like an older sister to me. She's always there for me if I have questions. I definitely know in Florida, I was nervous. I was shaky, and I texted her, and she was calming me down. They would call me at like 12 in the morning to calm me down. It was awesome. They're great people. And
did you ever see how Michelle? I'm sure you did, Maddie. But did you ever see how Michelle trains? Like, would you ever see how she trains in the gym? The stuff that she puts up on like Facebook.
She's a beast.
It's unbelievable. I get tired just watching it.
She's a beast.
And even Ian Carnegie, I interviewed him, and even he was like, "Could you imagine if she was a guy? Like, she would be unbelievable. Like, she would, her work ethic is next to none." And
it's crazy. And I'm like, Michelle, what are you training for? And she's like, I'm just getting ready. I was like, you do you.
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to train with her. Like, she wants me to come down for a week in the summer and just stay with them. And I was like, I'll love, but I'm staying at your house when you go to your workouts, because I don't know about that. I probably could do one thing and then I'll be on the floor crying or something.
Yeah, but her work ethic is absolutely astounding. I mean, but you could see the physical athleticism in her, though. You could see it. What the hell else was I going to say? Okay. All right, Jesse, I'm going to start with you. When you arm wrestle, what are your best attributes, and what do you think you have to work on?
I think just like I'm going to say like the natural strength that I found I had. It kind of will determine how someone pulls, just like how they're comfortable and how they stand up against a table. If it comes more natural, you're definitely a way better, puller. So I think that I kind of have, but I don't have any wrist work, like good, like technical wrist work that I'm proud of. Like, I can do a little bit better with my left hand, but I feel that I need to like just train it so much more, and it's just such a weak area, so it's hard to train consistently. But definitely like wrist work and improving that.
So you're all brawn. You go up there and you're like, I'm just going to take you out, and if I don't take you out now, it's a wrap.
I try. Yeah. You want to flash because that way you're not hurting. They're not hurting.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just a long match is like, oh my God, your arms are going to hurt so much.
I could only imagine. But did you guys ever see that match between Michael Todd and who's the guy that always has his tongue out of his mouth? He's always
The Cherry Caddy.
Yeah. Did you ever see it? They go on for like 6 minutes. I'm like, dear God.
Yeah, that. Oh.
How is that possible? Anyway. All right. So Sabrina, go ahead. What do you think? What is your best attributes, and what do you have to work on?
I think genetics because I have like pretty big hands.
Okay, yeah, that helps.
Like a man.
All right.
So it's so comfortable for me pulling guys because I'm not like a small hand trying to push.
Right.
A big arm. So that's kind of my best thing in arm wrestling. What I would like to improve is my focus because I'm not too competitive. So like I'm good if I lose, I don't care. Right. That's not good because I want to win anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. I'm always fine. So I should improve that a little bit. Like I have a lot of table time, so I'm getting all the techniques pretty much. I just need to focus and train and put like a goal and like.
So it's more of the mental aspect you have to work on.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's admirable. It's very honest. It's very honest.
I'm not too committed with arm wrestling as I was in another sport like bodybuilding. Like I take that kind of way more serious than arm wrestling. Like I enjoy every time I pull. It doesn't matter if it's a practice or a tournament. So I need to focus on being competitive.
Yeah, well, bodybuilding was my first love too. So I understand.
Yeah.
So Maddie, and you don't have to be modest, Maddie. If you don't have any weaknesses, it's fine. We get it.
I think with my like strength on the table is definitely like my natural like strength ability. Like my dad's just naturally strong as an ox. Like growing up, he never worked out, and he's just like naturally strong. And I always said that. And my speed from softball, I think that definitely helps. Like being in the open classes, like you're going against some slower people, but having speed and strength is like it's kind of deadly. And then I think like what I need to improve on is my table IQ, but I know that comes with time because my first tournament we had like maybe 4 girls, and every tournament I've been in, I think Worlds was the biggest class, which makes sense. It was only 6 of us, but that was the biggest class I ever had so far. So like it was just table IQ and like talking to the refs and making sure I get what I want, and that's
so just experience, and that obviously that's gonna come definitely, There's a lot of different techniques, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just learning, right? So, what do you guys think? We'll start with Jesse. What do you think is the most impressive technique? Like when you watch somebody, who is that arm wrestler that has that technique that you admire? Not the arm wrestler that you admired growing up and you wanted to be like, but the person you're like, kind of like, how does he win like that? Like that, how does he do that? Do you know what I mean? Him or her?
Yeah, so the first person who comes to mind is definitely Devin Larratt because he's just like insane on the table. Like literally, I think he has issues like in his brain, not in a bad way, just that out like just like outward with his personality.
Right.
Great guy. I've never met him, but he's always like very good stuff. But he's crazy on the table. He just will move his arm any which way and adjust to it and stuff. And he just is a nutcase. It's insane. He'll come back from such an awkward losing position, or he'll train up. Like he lost to Michael Todd in a King's move, and he trained up to beat Michael Todd in a King's move. Like that's the ultimate.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
The ultimate kind of like he learned along the way and dominated them all.
Yeah. What do you think, Sabrina? Who's the person you'll look at and like, how does that happen? How does this guy or this girl win like that?
It's like, I know how it happens, but Hatchin is for me like, he has everything I would love to have, like side pressure, endurance, like I really would like to be like him at the table, like standing in a pretty shitty position and being strong anyway. I would say like that's.
So his style is that he's like in a bad position, and then but that's a good thing for him. He wants to be in that bad position.
To be honest, I'm not a fan of the flop wrist position.
Yeah,
but he can do it, and even in that position, putting a lot of side pressure and cheating anyway, that's kind of impressive for me.
Okay.
So.
All right. What about you, Maddie? Who do you look at and you're like, how does this person do this?
I mean, after even seeing it this week, like Michael Todd, I think, just like any situation on the table, like anyone is bringing anything for him, he just adapted to it and just like still won. And it was crazy. Like he would have a battle like outside of straps with this one guy, I forget his name, this weekend. And then all of a sudden they were going to straps and he would just like flash. Like it was just like so cool how like he just knew like right from the setup. Like he didn't have to go and talk to anyone or like anything. He like just knew. And like that would be something I would definitely want to get, is just to know what to do right away.
Yeah, so he's like an intellect of the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit of I guess more gossipy stuff about arm wrestling. So obviously the most obvious right now is, did you watch that fight between the Mountain and Devin Larratt? Was that not the most ridiculous thing? And to his credit, James Reed actually said that. He goes, because I actually interviewed, the girls that are dominant now. And he was like, we asked him about the fight because he is a fighter. And he's like, that's not even a fight. He wouldn't even comment on it. And he was right. He was right. It was absolutely atrocious. Anyway, did you guys watch it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I just saw some highlights, but yeah, it looked.
What highlights?
There's not much to
just
watch.
like a recap. Yeah, not highlights, a recap of the match, but I didn't like stream it live.
Yeah, every arm wrestler that I know was really pulling for Devin Larratt and so on and so forth. But just common sense knows that if you only have 5 weeks to train for somebody that's been training to do something for a year and a half, the odds are against you tremendously, And I know he was like special forces and he was, a mixed martial arts back when he was young.
Yeah,
but it's not totally different. And you could tell he was so awkward in there. And thank God the ref knew. I think the ref knew because the ref stopped it relatively early.
Especially because they were going to do 8 rounds. I was like,
yeah.
That was crazy.
Listen, I hope he got paid a lot of money. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. But
because I said it when I interviewed the other girls, and I'll say it now. You got it. In order for me to get in the ring with the Mountain, you got to start at the 7-figure mark because there's no way I'm getting in the ring with anything less than with that animal. Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing is John Brzenk and Paul Lynn. All right. Well, Sabrina, we'll start with you since you're a big John Brzenk fan.
I don't want John to lose, but I love Paul, and I don't know if he has a chance to beat him. I'm more than happy for him, but I don't want John to lose. I hope to be there. Yeah. I'm trying to be there.
Paul seems to be the people's champion. Like everybody I've ever met, and I interviewed him twice, and he is a fantastic human being, really.
Yes.
So what do you think, Jesse?
I feel the same as Sabrina. You just like, because you've seen like how wholesome John Brzenk has been his whole career. Like he's been pretty much the most like famous arm wrestler, I guess, kind of coming from America. He really kind of elevated the American arm wrestling world.
That's
in his own respect. So and Paul is such a nice guy. It's like either way, whatever side wins, it's going to be a great match. I do hope it's a little long, which is terrible to say because you never want it to be a long match, but I do hope it's like some really good rounds, some really good counters. I think both of them have like a pretty decent shot, with each other.
What do you think, Maddie?
If I have to be honest, I love Paul. I met John once. They're such great guys, so humble. I feel like if Paul wins, I don't think the arm wrestling world would know what to do because like everyone just knowing that John Przink is like the best arm wrestler.
Yeah.
But I really do think Paul's gonna win the first round, and then I think John's gonna make the adjustment and come back.
Yeah, that's usually how it works with John, right? I even said that with Paul. He's like, you know, there's no lane you can actually cut off. According to him, there's like no lane you can cut off with John. Is he, you know, he's just gonna overcome and adapt. But I don't know. Paul's a natural athlete and a tremendous arm wrestler. Yeah. So and he's the people's champ. Everybody seems to want to see him, you know, win. He's an underdog. And everybody loves him. Yeah, everybody does. Did you guys see when I asked the question to that with Nancy and Michelle and Robin and whatnot? The funniest one was Nancy, like, cause she was just like I was like, Nancy, what do you think? She goes, John's gonna win. I went, that's it. She's like, yeah, he's the best and he's gonna win. I'm like, okay, all right, that's it.
I mean, but some people do feel that strongly about how it's gonna go. But
no, absolutely, yeah. Listen, I want Paul to win because, like, you know, as we were talking to, I was saying this to Maddie. Paul opened the arm wrestling door for me. After Paul is when Michelle Dugan came on my show, Mike Aiello came on my show, and Lisa Wolfley, and so on and so forth. And now I have you guys, you know, and that means a lot to me. So much so that I don't know if you saw the last interview I had with him, but I told him that I have my own ranking system. And if you're the first person in that genre that I interview, you're the best in the world, period, no matter what. So I don't know, you know. But that was that's something else. Okay, so Maddie, now that you dominated the juniors, what do you want to do now? What's the future of arm wrestling for Maddie Walker?
Right now I'm gonna focus on fall season for softball. December when I'm home, I'll start training, maybe go to local tournaments, and then spring softball. But I think in the summer, I really do want to train for someone particular. But
you can't say it. You can't say it.
I mean, I can, but like I'm kind of like I'm nervous to say it. Definitely Anna Kenna. I think she's gonna be the next person for me.
Who is it?
Anna Kenna.
Is she also a up and comer, or she's?
No, she's been in the game for a while. So.
Oh, you're gunning for the big dog.
You can go big or go home. You know.
You're like, I'm gonna take you out, bitch. No, all right, sorry.
Just go hard or go home. That's what I live by. So.
No, listen, you know, and like, you know, I'm being how can I say this? To being honest, you truly are an up-and-coming superstar. You're, I mean, barring any major injury or something that changes your course, you seem to be the next Michelle Dugan, the next Nancy Locke, the next Andrew. You're on that track. You know, I hate to break it to you, Maddie, and I also believe that with you two girls, Sabrina and Jesse, because I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't have invited you on. If you were just like, you know, the average Joe, you know, I wouldn't have invited you on, right? I mean, somebody contacted me and told me they wanted me to interview another female arm wrestler, and I won't mention any names because I don't want to, you know, talk shit about anybody. But and I was like, okay, you know. Where is she arm wrestled? And they're like, well, you know, she's been in like local stuff, like in Brooklyn and Queens and, you know, Jersey and all that. And I was like, all right, well, you know. So then what happened was, what I do is, because Paul and Michelle have been so instrumental in who I interview, I go back and I ask them, who's this person? Because I don't know all the major players yet, right? So I go back and they're like, nah, no, don't, you know, no, decent. Or they're like, or I remember, Maddie, I asked about your dad. And Michelle was like, "Oh no, you got to get him on. You know, yeah, he's one of the best. You got to get him on." So I was like, "All right." So I go back and I was like, I was being nice, and I said to him, "You know, I'd love to interview her, but I don't want to sound like a snob. But you realize that the girls that I've interviewed have been like, they're all world champions, right? Like I can't have a girl on that's like arm wrestled her sisters and won. Like it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is if I didn't believe in all three of you, I wouldn't have invited you on. And that's the God's honest truth, right? I mean, after Sabrina, referred Jesse, I did the same thing. And I asked a few people, what do you think? And they all said the same thing. Oh, her father's good and she's good. Definitely. Okay. Because I can't just have like some slob on. Who's going to watch it? Nobody's going to watch it if I have some idiot on. But anyway, all right. So what's the future for, who do we did the future for Matt. Did we do the future for Sabrina yet? Okay. No. So what is the future for Sabrina, especially arm wrestling?
First of all, I need to recover from my injury in my left hand. Mm-hmm. It's been bothering like the whole last year, so I need to recover. I need to get on point, like catch up with training, get at decent level, and start pulling. And I need to lose some weight. I've been pulling a heavier class. I used to be 145. Now I'm 160, so it's pretty much a heavy class for me. Yeah. But I need to go back to 145 and do my workout. That's it.
All right. So basically it's just getting focused again and then starting over and starting to be dominant again.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, what about you?
Well, for the near future, at least while I'm down here for the next 2 years, I hope to just make a little bit of a better name for myself down in the Southeast. There's a decent picking of girls, but it's such a broader area. Up north, there's so many people and they're so close. There's way more people up north to pull, but the talent down here is spread out. But when you see them at a competition, you're like, oh my God, I wish we could get together and train because it's coming together, but we're not too sharpened yet. We need each other to kind of bounce off of and get those skills a little bit more honed, because that's who you're pulling, the other girl across the table.
So do you have a team now that you're training with down in North Carolina?
It's down in Wilmington, but there's no women on it. It's just all guys.
Just dudes.
Yeah, a few of them are nationally ranked and regionally ranked and stuff. So they're more of the teachers kind of, but everyone pulls together and everyone just brings together their experience and stuff, which is pretty much how most practices work. But it's 5 or 6 of us that all kind of just get together in some dude's living room and pull on tables.
I don't know. I know I had Blanca Vega, and she runs this Facebook. You probably know, and she could probably help and find you some people, because she kind of does that. She kind of finds people to pull with, and in no matter what area of the country, and so on and so forth. And I had her on twice as well. I don't know if you probably already know that. I just said it anyway. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's good. It's good to get the name out.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want to contact her, I'm sure she could probably be very helpful. But yeah, she has what is her? Was it Arm Her Nation on Facebook, right?
Arm Wrestle Her. Yeah.
That's right. Or you could just contact her on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, that was pretty cool, and I really appreciate you guys coming on. And it was honestly, it was a pleasure. Sometimes sometimes you're interviewing people and it's like pulling teeth, and it's not going smooth. But you guys were great. It was really cool.
Oh, good.
And I appreciate. Oh, of course, I appreciate you guys coming on. And when Sabrina and Jesse win a world championship, then you'll be back, right? That's just the way it goes. You'll definitely be back. And we'll go from there. No, I always try to keep in touch. I always try to keep in touch with people, because it means a lot when you guys come on, because it's not easy. It's getting easier as I'm doing the YouTube channel, the podcast. It's getting easier and easier to get people on as I get more and more exposure. But at the same time, I still appreciate everybody who comes on and gives me time, because I know people are busy. Oh yeah, Sabrina, when is your boyfriend gonna propose? What kind of shit is this?
Oh, No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen yet.
When is he gonna propose?
Damn, he just went straight for the gut.
I totally forgot about that. I was like,
Let's
hey,
talk about something else.
Let's
Let's go back to arm wrestling.
You gotta tell him you're 27. You're not getting. Let's go. Time is ticking. What was that movie with Joe Pesci? He's a lawyer.
I know.
Yeah. Oh God, what was the name of the movie? Hold on. Jesus.
Where he breaks his
My
little
cousin
nephews out?
Vinny. My cousin Vinny.
Vinny.
Yeah. And she says, "My clock is ticking like this." And so you gotta
clock is not ticking.
you gotta give him the same. You gotta give him the same spiel. Buy the ring. Let's go.
No rush for me.
Okay. I'm only breaking chops. But guys, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you very much, and I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.